Hey, yo, this is Dash, and today I'm going to be doing something a little different. I know the majority of my videos are almost always me showcasing or showing you how to do something with a Canic, but one of the things that I see as a range safety officer is people do not know how to stand when they are shooting. Learning how to stand properly and build a proper stance when shooting is something that's very important, and it builds a foundation for how you are handling your firearm. So if you'll allow me, I'm going to show you how to properly, in my opinion, stand while you're shooting. All right, so hopefully you can see me in my entirety. I know this is it's usually not what you see when you see me in my videos. It's typically like from here up. But hopefully this works out and I can show you what it is that I want to talk to you about. One of the things that I find when I see people shooting or new shooters is that they almost always stand leaned back. They're like this, and they're leaned back. The thing is, when you're shooting a firearm and cars driving by and trash trucks aside, when you are shooting a firearm, there's recoil. Now I'm going to show you this pistol is empty. It is clear. There's nothing here. And I have a video talking about proper grip. If you haven't seen that video about proper grip, I suggest you go out to that video and check that one out and then come back to this one. But once you have your proper grip, you're gripping the firearm, you have the firearm out in front of your eye and everything is lined up. You line up your sights. And then people do this. Now, if you can see how I'm standing, my right foot, as I am right-handed, is behind my left foot. Now, you'll see sometimes there are people who will tell you to stand flat. If you were in the military or police, then yes. The reason why they stand flat is probably because they are wearing body armor or chest plates or something along those lines. And if they're standing canted, there could be a penetration on the side of where their plates aren't. So they stand like this. The problem is that's what people see on TV and in movies, and they stand like this, and then they stick their butts out and they bend their knees and they push out like this, right? Sometimes, or even worse, they lean back or they stand up exactly straight. Nothing worse than having people who stand with their feet together and then lean back. Most women do this. Feet together, lean back, because they're like, I'm afraid of the gun. And they go like this, right? Next thing I see often is people will stand and then they'll do this. And they'll bring your head down to the gun. Pick your head up straight, bring the gun up to your eye so that everything is in line and you're ready to go. Lastly, again, right foot back. And the reason I say right foot back, what I tell people in the range is I say square up like you're about to fight me. And they usually do. And I say, put your hands together and push your hands out and then lean forward. That's the easiest way to get a stance set up. Because if I'm the firearm, if I'm the gun, there's recoil that's going to be pushing you back. That recoil is going to push you back. And if you're lean back, and your feet are flat and you're lean back and the gun is pushing you back, you're going to have to take a step back in order to regain your balance. But if you're standing with your feet together and you put one foot, maybe a foot length back, shoulder width apart, and then lean your shoulders forward, when that recoil happens and it pushes you back, it'll stand you straight up. Once you get stood straight up, you can get back on target by getting back down. But if you're already standing straight up or lean back, it's going to push you off balance. And that's not what you want in a firefight. Now, that was a pistol. With a rifle, similar rules apply. This rifle is free and clear. This is just a basic AR. So this is an Anderson lower, and a this is Aero Precision. I know someone's gonna ask. Oop, I can't see it. It is, oh, Midwest Industries upper. So I mean, pretty basic. This is the rifle that I'm going to be building at some point. For right now, I just have pop-up irons at a cant because I know that I'm going to be putting an optic on this or a sight. But this is pretty basic. But this is how I see people stand all the time when they're shooting their rifles. They might have their feet back, but most of the time they're standing flat, and then they go like this. First, if you can put your hand out further, the further you put your hand, the more stable this will be. But you don't have to. The whole thing is, I see a lot of people put their hands here, and that's fine as well. But what happens is your support arm is going to get tired because there's just a lot of weight. And in Maryland, lucky us, we have to have heavy barrels. So this firearm is heavier than probably any other state in the country than you're used to. Let's say if you're in Texas or in, Florida, where you don't have heavy barrel restrictions. But that's also a good thing because that heavy barrel restriction will mean that our barrels will last longer. Now, am I going to be shooting 10,000, 15,000 rounds out of my rifle? Hell no. But there are some people who probably do. Anyway, back to stance when you're shooting a rifle. One of the things that I see people do all the time is, again, I'm on the range and I see this at least 2 or 3 times a day. People will do this. And they're looking through their left eye when they're right-handed or shooting right-handed. But when in all actuality, what you need to do is bring your head up and down. You kind of crane your neck up and forward to put your head on, I won't say on the cheek rest, but here. So as opposed to going like this, where you're just putting your head down, you bring your head forward and down. And what that will allow you to do is line up your right eye with your optic or with your irons or what have you. Okay, so you see my irons on this are canted. So I'm canting the rifle, and then I'm going to bring my everything down, and then I'm looking through the circle in the rear, lining up the post in the front, and I can shoot on target. But last thing is, people will always, almost always, stand. They might stand with their feet back, but they're always like this and straight up. So when you start shooting the rifle, what happens is they go do 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 do, and then they have to take a step back because they get knocked off the balance. But if you are leaned into the rifle and aggressively lean into the rifle, you will be better off after you shoot. Do 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 do. You can stay on target. Your body acts as a spring, and it won't allow you to lift up. You see in TVs and movie or like meme videos where people start shooting and they go like this. That's because they're already standing up straight or leaned back and they're firing, and the recoil on the rifle is pushing them back. Especially with shotguns. Shotguns are crazy. So this is a AR-15 rifle, and this is the AR-15 pistol. This is a Palmetto State Armory lower with an Aero Precision barrel, and again, nothing fancy. This is an optic that came off of another rifle. This kind of works. Now this pistol, I have a sling that I'll put over my shoulder, and I can wear this kind of down if necessary or when the time comes. But the same rules apply here. And this is what I was referring to when I'm talking about taking and craning your head and neck forward so that you can look through your optic. Just crane your head forward. The grip is adjustable, so I can pull that back and crane my neck forward, look directly through the optic, and get on target. With this one, I have a much shorter barrel, so I can't hold out as far, but just hold here. Now, keep in mind, the barrel will get hot if you shoot it enough, and or if you have a fun trigger in yours like I may or may not have in mine. But anyway, that hopefully should help you out when you go to the range the next time and you are wondering how to stand, or if you just are, I won't say clueless, but are unaware of how you should properly stand when firing a firearm. Again, the best thing you can do is lean forward as you are shooting with your rifle. Lean into it, because the recoil on a rifle is going to be substantially more than a recoil on a pistol. But at the same time, just keep in mind to put one foot back, kind of like I said, a fighting stance is the best way to explain it. And if you're left-handed, then your left hand should be back, your right hand should be forward, your left foot should be back, your right foot should be forward. Put your hands together and point out, lean into it. All right. Hopefully that was helpful. Like I said, I've seen a few folks, a few shooting videos, and I've also seen a lot of people in person at the range that I work at. I work at Cindy's Hot Shots in Glen Burnie, Maryland on Sundays. If you are in the area, feel free to come on through, hang out with your boy, all right? Hopefully this was helpful and it gave you a place to start. Maybe fix something that is not 100% right. I don't like to say that what you're doing is wrong. It just might not be right 100%. So with that being said, thank you so very much as always for watching. And maybe next week we'll get back to Canon content. Who knows? This sling, I want to say I haven't figured out how to wear the sling. Just because I put it on here, I found it on sale, and I was like, oh, I could use the sling on that little pistol, but get it on. Oh, there goes my microphone.